There are 270 million guns in America. For some people, that's too many.
There's too many guns out there because you have too many opportunities to use them.
For others, it's not enough.
My safety is my responsibility. It's not the responsibility of my police department or my government. It's my responsibility.
Now, for some people in America, the answer to gun violence is simple. Nobody should have a gun. For others, the answer is equally simple. Everybody should have a gun. As with most serious issues in our world, it's a little more complicated than that. The scenes are familiar. San Bernardino, Aurora, Charleston. Names that immediately conjure up the image of bloody and deadly gun violence and the grieving that follows.
I just wanted to come and pay my respects and to just pray for what's happening in this country.
More common are the gunfights in our streets, home invasions, carjackings, accidental child shootings. More than 33,000 gun deaths in 2015. Is there a gun issue in America? You may think the answer is obvious, but it depends upon who you ask.
No. I do not think we have a gun issue in this country. We have an education issue and a mental health issue. If you address those two issues, the gun issue goes away.
People have the right to own them. I'm not going to address that question about whether they can or should own them. I think the important question is keeping any kind of gun out of the hands of people who shouldn't use them.
Recent polls indicate a majority of Americans favor tougher background checks on gun purchases. Earlier this month, President Obama announced an executive action to enforce that, shedding a tear as he referenced school shootings at Virginia Tech and Sandy Hook.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
In Michigan, no permit is required to purchase a rifle or shotgun. No registration of that weapon is required. A permit is required to purchase a handgun, and registration required to carry it. Open carry is legal in Michigan, even in schools, for a person with a valid concealed pistol license. It is illegal to carry a concealed weapon into a school. Guns are part of the American culture, and gun advocates rightly argue that we live in a dangerous world. Increasing numbers of law-abiding citizens are choosing to protect themselves with guns.
I'm not a big fan of guns, but to protect yourself, you know, if you have to get one, get one.
There's too many guns out there because you have too many opportunities to use them. That's why I don't have a gun, because I know I'm going to shoot somebody.
2 years ago, Detroit Police Chief James Craig made the cover of the NRA magazine when he said he sees no problem with citizens owning and using their guns against criminals.
People are going to protect themselves. They're tired. They've been dealing with this epidemic of violence. They're afraid, and they have a right to protect themselves.
But what responsibilities go with that right? Bill Cusick, a former SWAT team commander, is the owner of Action Impact Firearms in Southfield and East Point. He says it's not the number of guns in America, over 270 million, or the number of gun owners that we should worry about.
It's the number of people that are trained, safe, and competent with their firearms that we need to be concerned with.
Bill is a strong defender of the right to own a gun.
My safety is my responsibility. It's not the responsibility of my police department or my government. It's my responsibility.
But he quickly adds, a law-abiding gun owner and a responsible gun owner are not necessarily the same thing.
Simply buying a gun is not enough. If all you do is buy a gun, chances are very good you'll never be able to use it to save your life.
Bill says he would encourage laws that require mandatory gun training with a gun purchase. Right now, that training is voluntary, and he doesn't get many volunteers.
They won't make the effort to receive additional training. We try. We run specials. We encourage them. We motivate them. You know, I do videos on it, and they just won't come back.
We were offering free gun safety classes every Wednesday at our Southfield store. The most people we got coming in was maybe 2 to 3 people. Sometimes no one showed up.
So what place should guns have in America? For most people, there is no simple answer.
You don't know how rough it is over here. I feel more protected if someone comes in on me.
Do you feel like you could use the gun if you had to?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think so, because it would be very difficult for me to take a life.